Well, what a lovely introduction, wasn't it just?
That was beautiful.
Indeed. Okay, so this is it. This is finally the attempt at a podcast.
The first iteration.
Yes, this is giving this a go. So this is going to be a politics one. Aren't you all happy? Aren't you all happy with what's happened recently? Isn't it a good thing?
Our timing could not have been better.
I mean, the ideal... I'd have loved to have done it on, God, it feels like forever ago. It was Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that seems like a hell of a time ago.
Oh, many moons ago.
Back when President Obama was still kissing babies, loving unicorns.
Yeah.
You know, farting gold. So, yeah, we all know what we're going to talk about. And that is that white America has decided that reality TV trumps politics.
Hey.
I see what you did there. Use of words.
Okay, so firstly, yeah, we're all majorly disappointed. But we do get to see how good Obama's acting is.
I don't know, that first meeting.
Yeah.
What surprised me more was if you watch Donald Trump, he's not even got the acting nous. He comes in and he just literally looks shell shocked. Like at some point, Beatles there. Like
someone jumps out and goes, "Gotcha!"
We're just fucking kidding. The Electoral College, that's not even a thing. That doesn't make sense, does it? Oh, California gets 55 votes. Some places get 2. That doesn't make a lick of sense. You obviously wanted to talk about the Electoral College. You can by all means start on that because...
Okay, so the Electoral College was originally a way to keep from... it meant to make the politicians pay attention to small states. So the idea was the Electoral College would represent their constituents, the people who lived there. And because they all had a minimum of 3 votes each, politicians would be like, oh, I've got to go and spend time in all these places.
They needed it,
but it's just not true. It's completely corrupt. CPG Grey on YouTube has done a couple of excellent videos on the problems with the Electoral College, and he pointed out in one of them that you could win the Electoral College with 51% of Electoral College votes and only 22% of the popular vote.
Well, I mean, even if you look at it now, and it is really close, which is arguably more disturbing.
200,000 votes in it in a population of 60 million.
Yeah.
No, not 60 million.
That's
us.
We're 60 million. We're 60 million. There's been 84 million votes from 60 million people.
Yeah, that's how it works in America, right? Sorry, yeah, you're right. Carry on.
Yeah, it is, as you say, it's a roundabout, time of speaking, 200,000 between them, Hillary being in front. And yet, I mean, it just seems, it's not even archaic, it's nonsensical. If every one was evenly distributed, so, every state had 10 Electoral College votes, say, that might make some more sense to someone on the outside, but obviously, our grandparents are still confused by 100 pennies fitting into a pound, as opposed to 7 shillings and 3 pence equaling a pound.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a generational and a cultural thing, but America, no, that just doesn't work.
Well, okay, so the Electoral College, like you say, maybe say there was 10 votes per state. That wouldn't work because some states are more populous than others, which means that each person's vote that goes towards an Electoral College vote, if you've got a higher population in your state, your vote is worth less than a state which has a lesser population.
But overall, it still equals out. So a population of 50 million, 26 million vote for one person, the 24 vote for the other. The vote goes towards the other person. The majority.
Not in that. It would depend on the states that they're in. So if you've got 26 million people spread over 4 states who are voting for one, well, like candidate A, but you've got 24 million spread over 10 states voting for candidate B, the 24 million are going to win because they've got more electoral votes. So the only real way to do it is just, why do we even need the electoral college?
No.
Why can't you just count votes for the person?
Because Americans
says so.
hate history, but want things to stay the same. Like, they want to be at the cutting edge and staying exactly the same all at once. It's a very odd land. If a building is 50 years old, that shit needs to go down. Like, that is too old. That, no, we can't have that here. What's that? You want to change the way that I vote? No. Don't you fucking touch that.
It's worked so perfectly well in the last 50 years.
We've always had, insurance for healthcare. Why would I want to change that? Why would I want free healthcare? That's a terrible idea.
Why would anybody not want to pay for their healthcare? Okay, the other problem that, again, CPG Grey points out is that this isn't the first time that the popular vote, the Electoral College has gone against the popular vote.
Well, even in the last election, Mitt Romney technically won, didn't he? In terms of popular vote.
Since 2000, there have been 2 errors. Like, twice that the Electoral vote has gone against the popular vote. That's 2 errors in 5 elections. That's a failure rate of 40%. That's nearly half. Nearly half of their elections are so wrong that half of their population disagree with them.
And yet...
So, he was right all along. It is a rigged system.
Oh, yeah. He even may mention it. There's plenty of stuff going around of the 2012 election where, on Twitter, Donald Trump was saying the Electoral College doesn't work as a voting system.
It's a disaster. We must get rid of it. It's awful. It's a disaster.
Never really mentioned China or Putin a lot back then, did he? Really weird. He never blurted out so many just sort of random words that I remember anyway. It wasn't just an arbitrary sentence, it was just punctuated with China.
Well, 4 years ago, we didn't have to give a shit what he thought because he was just some guy who was on a TV show. And then, as we found out in the last 18 months, now he wants to hold the highest office in the world.
You're saying he wants to. I don't think he wants to. You look at his face.
I know.
And even when he's campaigning, you just kind of get the idea that he's just like, this is great. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a shit show of everything. I'm gonna lose by a little bit, but I'm gonna have some real good stories. And even like on his acceptance speech, he just came out and just his face, maybe it's just he can't express joy. Possibly.
Without suppressing someone else.
Yeah. Without having to grab someone by a genital.
A singular
singular genital. Just a pinch of a flap. A caress of a nad. But maybe he's just too jowly and he's physically, like, his face is atrophied. His muscles just physically cannot lift the amount of jowl into a cursory smile.
Well, his tan must be at least an inch thick. So it would probably crack a veneer of like going all over. It'd be like smashing a boiled egg or something. If he cracked a smile, the whole thing would just shatter.
I think personally, what's more worrying, I could have almost tolerated the orange walrus, which just a man who looks like too much mince put in too little cling film being made the most powerful man in the world if the Republicans didn't have everything now. They have the House.
Oh, yeah, that is...
They've got the Senate. They own America.
Just to pile even more depression on you here, they still haven't confirmed Barack Obama's election suggestion for the courts, which means that Donald Trump is probably going to nominate the next superior judge. What are they called? High judge? No.
Yeah, blah, blah. It's on to my tongue. Justice. Yeah, blah, blah.
Chief Justice. There you go.
Whatever.
The highest court in America.
Yeah.
So they've currently got 8. It's basically split 4 and 4 for Democrat and Republican judges. And now Trump is going to probably nominate the next one, which will pass through the House and the other House because they're both in his party. And then when one of the others dies, because they're all over 70,
yeah,
he's just going to have an incredibly right-wing jurisdiction as
Yeah.
well. So all 3 branches of government are going to be Republican.
Yeah. Basically, you thought you were afraid when he got in. Be more afraid. It's one man in that office, kind of as Barack Obama's shown, can't do an awful lot if he's held by the checks and balances elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If the balance is skewed, that's where women don't get abortions. Places that spend 10% of their time doing abortions and the other 90% helping cancer survivors and helping decrease cancer risks and generally doing good work getting closed down because some little religious fucktards see Planned Parenthood and think, oh no, ain't nobody planning my parenthood.
But that was clearly obvious.
They call me Truck Driver Junior because my mommy didn't know his first name. It's the people who... There's sanctity of life until the baby is born, and then it goes out the window.
I heard someone describe these pro-lifers as being like comic book collectors.
Yeah.
They only really care about the value of it if it's in the original wrapper. And then after that, they're not going to support gun control because they're pro-choice as well. They're pro-choice for gun control, but pro-life for babies. They're like uber nerds.
Well, that's like
fetuses, which is just...
It's like Bill Hicks says, if you're pro-life, don't pick it outside abortion clinics. Do it outside cemeteries. That's the place that's got the dead people going in. Like, no. Don't you bury them. There's options. They didn't have to die. We can stuff her. We got animatronics these days. Come on. A VR headset here and there.
That's just Monty Python, isn't it? I'm not dead!
Yes, you are. But it is the reason I don't have many American, inverted commas, friends. People on Facebook aren't your friends. They're people you've got to know through a third-party website. It's, glorified drinking.
You heard him, Facebook friends. You're not real friends.
Look, you send me a birthday card, I'll think about you as a friend.
You send me a birthday sheep on Facebook.
Send me a birthday poke. You can still poke people on Facebook. It takes a little bit to get to, but you can still poke people. I found that out the other day.
Tip of the day, don't forget to poke.
I think you'll find out there's a reason it's called the Meanderthals. What the fuck was I saying?
You were talking about picketing at cemeteries.
Wait, no, it was after that one.
You were talking about how Trump now basically controls America.
Yeah.
And he has all the Republican.
Oh wait, no, yeah,
jurisdictions to do
right.
what he
Facebook friends, inverted commas. A lot of them, and just like from shares and stuff, and various other social media platforms, there's a lot of fear being expressed by Muslims, obviously, Mexicans, obviously, black people, obviously. I don't know if that's politically correct. I don't know. I'm sorry. African Americans. I don't know. I can't keep up. That's why I take Viagra. And the most worrying is women in general, because you, like, an elected official can cause massive amounts of fear for 50% of a population just by being elected. And I'm not saying I'm approving of what's happening in terms of, the whole not my president thing, and
riots and
the riots and
protests.
stuff.
Well, I say protests, not riots.
There's been
so much getting,
and most of the stuff that's got out of hand, other people who've been there have brought it back into line, because the vast majority know that's not the way to get things done. Really, look, it's one of two ways. You either do it peacefully, or you literally go all out and you organise. There's not really a middle ground, honestly. Like, I'm very much from the Che Guevara school. You either don't bother, or you go in to take over. And yeah, those people, those hipsters, they ain't going in to take over. They're just having a bit of a bitch. And what's more annoying is, like, as much as the Republicans whined about Obama, I don't recall them ever doing that kind of proper up in arms protesting. It was just the quiet little pissant-y, well, he's not my president, I ain't seen his birth certificate yet, led by Donald Trump, of course. And do you really want to say that you're more reactionary than a Republican?
Yeah. Do you really want to be the ones who have a worse reaction to somebody being in charge than the Republicans?
Yeah. And look, he's a xenophobe. He's, well, I don't know if he is a xenophobe and a racist. I'm pretty sure he is a sexist. The anti everybody else things, it just smacks of the whole say what needs to be said to get the votes. The sexism was revealed arbitrarily. That wasn't him saying, and we're going to put up a wall and we're going to put it up around the women and they're going to stay in the houses.
Yeah, he didn't use it as a point of campaigning.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what reveals more about him. He's definitely a sexist and horrible to women, but is he actually xenophobic and racist? I don't know if he is. And we had Brexit, and
oh God.
What's also very disturbing is that in my lifetime, Nigel Farage has been involved in 2 successful movements. Nigel,
within a year.
Yeah, Nigel, my face looks like a squashed frog. Farage he's never even been a successful politician. He's never been elected.
Hold up. He represented us in the European Parliament. He was elected as a member of the European Parliament. The guy who wants to keep Britain out of Europe went to the European, where he met his German wife.
Yeah.
I love the contradiction in Nigel Farage so much. Have you noticed how they had him in America in the last couple of months with Donald talking about conservative right wing politics and being on stage, and how he's begun to look a lot more like him.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
He went over there and got a layer of Ronsil to blend in.
There's a definite varnish to the man, and I'm sure, didn't he say something like Donald Trump winning was more unexpected than Sunderland beating Bournemouth or something? And I can just imagine, if he did say that, every person in the audience just looking at him like a dog that's been shown a magic trick. Just, what? Just, I don't know what those words were. I'm sure they had meaning to you, you funny little man, with your funny accent.
Funny accent and your funny hair.
Are you an Australian? Are you one of those Muslimics? I'm not sure. All I know is get out of my country, yeah?
Shows your birth certificate or get out.
They wouldn't be able to understand it. It'd look weird and foreign to them.
It's written in this strange language called English.
Proper English. There's U's in it.
with U's that we pronounce.
Yeah. R-E as well. There's R-E in there. Not religious education. There's very little of that.
Oh, Trump. We were talking about Trump. Okay, so...
Lest we forget.
We'll get onto that in a bit, actually. I want to talk about that as well. But let's think about this from the opposite point of view. So... okay, we've had Obama doing his amazing acting and saying, We need to do the smooth transition. And we've had the wonderful pictures of the House White. House White?
The House White.
The House White staff.
House White. Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's going to be the House White.
House White. Oh, yes. Now. So the White House staff, and you've seen that wonderful picture of them looking horribly depressed, and that other one of the woman crying at the meeting of them both.
I'm hoping I can get a decent picture on that to actually edit in and put in, because if you've not seen it, I only saw it today, and
it's amazing.
Oh man, yeah,
it's so good. Anyway, so we've got all these things, and we've got Obama, and we've got Hillary, and we've got Bernie saying things like, we must accept the result. We are a democracy. The people have spoken. We need to accept the result, move forward together, working together to build on tomorrow.
Fucking lefty. Fucking peaceful. No, you know what? I voted for Trump, and I don't believe he won. There.
But
fucking contrarian.
What if he actually turns around and... Okay, so there's two possibilities that would be good. Firstly, what if he turns around and says... Joke's on you, Republicans! I'm in charge now, and actually you're all racist bigots for voting me in, so here's how we change everything. What if he turns around and says, we're going to close all those loopholes that Hillary blamed me of exploiting. We're going to fix the rigged electoral system because I think it's rigged, I shouldn't have got in. What if he turns around and says all these things and actually makes some changes? I think the chances of that happening are ludicrously slim. Like, just... non-existently slim,
infinitesimal almost, but existing nonetheless.
Because there's a chance.
We've all seen the pictures of the Trumps and the Clintons schmoozing.
Yep.
Having a little old wiggy schmooze.
We might also remember that when asked about a decade ago if he would ever run for office, he said, "I'd probably run as a Republican because those guys are stupid enough to elect me."
Yeah. And well,
and they were, and they have. The other thing is then, we must still remember that even though there is a majority in both houses that is Republican, Democrats do still have a voice.
Yeah.
And they can filibuster, and they can delay, and they can frustrate the Republicans in the Senate and in Congress.
And there might even be moderate Republicans.
And there might even be moderate Republicans who don't think he's more extreme.
Slim chances, but... there are some people who are right-wing. And by the way, America, the Democratic Party, Democrats, whatever, they're not left-wing. I'm sorry, no. Bernie Sanders, yes. Hillary, nah. Barack Obama, nah, not really, mate. If, on the political spectrum, they're to the left of the right-wing.
That doesn't mean that they're left-wing.
Yeah, at a push, centrist, in the liberal area. Don't ever think that any left-wing American party could ever happen, because they're still afraid of socialism and communism because they've never understood it at all, pretty much.
As you said earlier, the whole country has this need to cling on to the past, possibly because they don't really have much. They're 200 years old, 250 years old as a westernized culture. They don't have a history to cling on to, and they've tried.
There's history there. It's just not. It's not white history.
It's just not white history.
Not white history, guys. Remember those guys right now that are having their land attempted to be bulldozed, and that's kind of being ignored. They were kind of there first.
Yeah, their history goes back thousands of years.
Right now, white people, you're the immigrants. Maybe the Native Americans should maybe put up a wall. Yeah, how about that?
Around what? The entire city?
Yeah, I agree. Look, it wouldn't work well for them.
No, it really wouldn't.
America could afford to pay for it. So
That's true.
More than Mexico. Dear little Mexico, all down there, eating his churros. Yeah, poor little bugger. He doesn't have a clue what's going on. He's just happy paddling in his pool. Whatever they do down there.
They paddle in pools. They drink margaritas. They don't pay for walls.
Drinking tequila, just wearing a sombrero. I don't know.
Are we treading in some weird territory here?
I don't know.
There was no wall to stop me, so I'm
happy. Look, this is why we need Trump. We need walls.
We need walls, obviously, to stop us from straying into...
But also to break down for the future. Let's face it, you can never have the Berlin Wall coming down without it going up.
Okay, let's talk about Mike Pence.
Oh.
Because here's the other thing. Trump's going to be in court in 3 weeks, being sued over his universities.
Yeah.
Among other things. His dodgy and probably illegal business practices could actually lead him to getting impeached fairly quickly, which means that the guy in charge will be
Mike Pence,
the whitest slice of white bread you've ever white breaded seen. Like, if you had like a cardboard cutout of a conservative American politician, he would look like Mike Pence. Like, if you had to draw a caricature of I don't know, you could put like just whiskers and a mustache on him and he would be a landowning slave owner from 150 years ago.
Don't give him ideas. Don't. Like, oh, horrible visages of just that coming back. Like,
But it's he's okay. So a lot of the media focus on Donald Trump because he's the like the focal point. He's the because he draws focus. He wants people to look at him,
and he's charismatic enough that he will draw the headlines.
Mike Pence is just bland and boring enough for you to ignore how horrible and despicable he is. He's the guy who introduced the bathroom bills in Carolina. I want to say Carolina. I'm going to say Carolina.
Yeah.
So he's not afraid of being misogynistic or exclusionary to other people.
Yeah.
But I think he's much more palatable to the rest of the Republican Party. If he was in charge, the Republicans would probably do a lot more to dismantle social care and social welfare in America.
Where Trump is probably braggadociousness and bluster, Pence would probably... Yeah, that's a big word, isn't it? Yeah.
I think we've
you know what's and you know what? There's a U in there. Mike Pence is like, he's the follow through. Like, I agree that, like, you know, maybe that should have been the campaign slogan: Trump and follow through. You know, maybe it's too late now, but you know, 2020 is coming up, or 2020, you know, which is what hindsight always is. America. Think about it.
Good point, eh?
Think about it.
2020, look back. Have a think.
Think about it. For 4 years, do nothing else but think about it.
To be honest, I think they're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know much about Mike Pence.
No.
Apart from,
but that's it. Like, that's always the way it happens. You know, you choose. Like, who knew anything about Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Like, Barack. It's always, ever since Kennedy, it's the focal point and the quiet guy. American politics, ever since Kennedy versus Nixon was televised, is little more than a popularity contest, and it is that Family Guy. It's that Family Guy episode where all Lois has to say is 9/11 and 11, and that is worryingly, it's happening over here more as well, because
yes, it is.
It was bad enough that it was just reported in the papers, and then we had the whole Cameron Blownie, Gordon Brown, Cameron Brown and Clegg being given, you know, the little podiums and given a chance to speak. Nick Clegg impressing everybody and getting 7% of the seats, but getting, you know, 20% of the vote. Look, we've been here. We have it too, America. All right.
Yeah.
Nobody's happy. This is 2016. Okay.
Who said you could be happy?
The only people that are happy is everybody over 55 who's a baby boomer, who's got loads in the bank. They don't have a mortgage. They don't have anything to worry about because they had all the money and they got everything for free. And they looked at us and they went, no, enough. we want you to pay for everything because we're getting old and we're living longer and we want to keep this way and we want to keep our jobs and we don't want you to work, but we need to get jobs. So go to university, but don't go to university because all it does is teach you nothing, but you need to be smart. And now you got a university degree, you work in retail, and oh my God, that's your life forever.
Thanks for that.
Yep. Look, some of us work in call centres instead. It's,
equally depressing, but better paid.
Yep. You get less of the smells.
You don't have to smell the people who are yelling in your face.
Yeah.
That's nice. That must be nice.
Well, it depends what one of your other colleagues might have rubbed on your phone earlier, just to give you an idea of what they might smell like.
Or what they might have rubbed their phone on.
Yeah.
So the one thing that American news outlets isn't focusing on, and that's because they don't use the word in the same way that we do. But he's now called President Trump. As a small glimmer of humour that I'm just every single time I'm going to read that and see that in the next 4 years.
Well, that's President it. Like it seems like the funny names are always Republican names, like Trump, Bush.
Oh, Boner. Here's one.
Boner. Yeah. Dole. We find that very amusing. Dole, of course, being what we refer to as the job seekers allowance, which is for those unemployed people that either can't or won't get work. Whereas Democrats have strong names like Gore. Never. God, that was such an ill-fitting name. Al Gore. Now there's fucking.
He should be in a metal band.
There was white bread for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Oh, although Ernest, he's like white bread that's got 50%. He's like 50-50 bread. He's like fortified white bread because he's got like
all the goodness of brown.
All the goodness of brown.
Yeah.
but very white.
Yeah.
He's not as chemically enhanced as Kent's white bread, which is just bleached flour, double bleached with extra bleach. Yeah. Slightly caustic.
Oh. Don't rub him in your eyes, kids.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Not safe for the under threes.
But like, there's actually quite a bit of hope that Trump can kind of de-escalate things with Russia and China, his two favourite words in the world.
Are you sure those are his favourite words?
I don't know, I just pick up on what he says a lot. I just pick up on those non-sequiturs that he just blurts out like the ADD riddled Tourette's kid that he
I would say his top 5 favourite words are Trump, great, brilliant, Bigly, and Trump.
Fucking Bigly. That's
okay,
just...
Bigly or Big League? Because
I feel like
I've heard it reported both ways.
I think the intention was Big League, but his jowls prevented the full enunciation, and it just became Bigly.
We're gonna win. It's gonna be Big League.
Bigly.
Bigly.
Oh, actually, another word he really liked was Brexit, and followed by plus, in ever more increments. Like he just keeps saying the word like it's gonna be Brexit, and again, like the audience was just like, in that American way, they applauded, but I know they didn't know what he meant. They're just like, yeah, it will.
Yeah,
what is it?
It'll be that thing that happened.
And then he'd be like, this is going to be Brexit plus. And every time it'd just be like more pluses, Brexit plus. Brexit plus. And I'm sure it was Farage feeding him this. And
when you say Brexit plus, it does make it sound even more like a vitamin supplement. Like, Brexit is designed... Yeah, Brexit. Like, if you're having a hard time going, Brexit can make things a smooth transition. We're no longer having a hard or soft Brexit either. It's now a smooth.
Yeah.
We're having a smooth Brexit.
Brexit plus, you'll get a smooth Brexit with added vitamin C.
For those times when you're really stuck in the EU.
Brexit plus, now with added iron. Brexit plus, now with vitamin D and riboflavin.
Now you're putting extra D into their Brexit. How dare you?
Oh, no one wants a D
with
in your
extra
Brexit.
Iron, you mean irony.
Americans don't understand that though.
Much like Brexit. So, What were we saying?
Uh,
I feel like that should be the catchphrase of this show.
yeah.
What were we saying?
Maybe that could just be sort of the, with, if we make this into like a solely American politics kind of spin-off, it can be that, the Neanderthals. What are we saying?
What?
Just general, just vowels, just, Wait, no, that's a consonant. Oh, fuck's sake.
Icon word's good.
Look.
We were talking about Trump's favourite words. Bigly plus.
Bigly plus. Bigly Brexit. Bigly Brexit.
Bigly Brexit.
Bigly Brexit.
Now Bigly Brexit sounds like a British caricature.
I was going to say, Bigly Brexit is someone from an Enid Blyton novel who's the fat kid who was just like, he'd just come along and snaffle a pudding from the famous Five.
Yeah, but he's got reasons, man. Susan turns around to the whole group and goes, "Now, guys, I know you really hate Bigly Brexit for taking the last muffin, but he's got some real serious issues going on at home. We should give him a break.
He's got troubles." Oh, but I don't like Bigly Brexit.
He
always snaffles my puddings.
You're lucky it's just your puddings. You came around to me, he was doing more than snaffling. For me, he was snatching. And that's how we turned him into a bad guy.
What were we saying? What were we saying?
We need one of those
auto cues.
One of those. I meant like a clapperboard from the movies that had make that beep beep marker.
Yeah.
And then now we know when to cut because we need to cut at some point.
No. Well, yeah. Cuts will be made. Edits as well. But
you were talking about how
foreign
hopeful
foreign policy. I mean, Hillary Clinton was admittedly fairly terrible in her choices when it came to, putting it simply, whether or not to shell the shit out of little brown people. She tended to vote for it. So instead of going, maybe let's not get involved in affairs elsewhere in the world because, maybe we don't need to be the policeman of the world. Maybe, just talking and tolerance could help things. She went more along the lines of, oil. Little brown people got oil. Do we like little brown people? Nope, Shell should have them. And Obama will probably be the coolest politician ever. He's the only politician I've ever seen do a mic drop. And he's the only one that probably ever could. And for as cool as he was, he kept Guantanamo open and he really upped them drone bombings.
Now, yes. Guantanamo is a bit of a sticking point because a lot of people say that was one of his election pledges was to close Guantanamo. And, he wanted to.
Yeah.
But he was fighting against, in one term, a split house of one was Democrat, one was Republican, and in the last term, both houses were Republican. So the chances of him getting that legislation through an ultra-conservative legislative branch was nil.
Yeah.
I mean, things are changing. It is closing. It is how it's. It has fewer occupants.
Will it? Or will maybe a few more people be surreptitiously, perhaps ensconced for a while at His Majesty Overlord Trump, arch benefactor of glorious states of Ameritrump, and perhaps detained indefinitely.
His threats towards that kind of thing are a little bit concerning. And the ways, anyway, we're all concerned about him and what he's going to do.
Yeah, there's just hope is hard right now.
Maybe we should have just started this section with some cathartic screaming. Just been like, just for a little while.
Well, I'd maybe encourage anyone who's listening to this to. Well, I imagine if you've gotten this far, you've been doing that anyway. Just perhaps just wailing at your screen, just going, what were they saying?
Just go a bit biblical. Gnash your teeth, rend your clothes.
Yeah, but if those clothes are made out of two different kinds of material,
you're going to hell anyway.
Yeah, right there. under man shall not lie with man. Right there, guys. You guys wearing a poly cotton blend. You gonna fucking burn, son.
According to those who say that homosexuality is wrong because it says so in this dusty tome.
Good old Levity, as I like to call it, you know, shortening things. Some people call it cuss. I prefer Levity because it sounds a bit like McVitie's. And I like to imagine it like that's what I'd call the little wafer biscuits in church. The Levities. Just oh,
can I have some Levities and Ribena?
A Levities Jesus digestive. Oh, lovely. Oh.
Not got any chocolate coated ones.
Oh
no, they've all been whitewashed because
shit for dipping in tea though. They just crumple. They're gone. They're gone. Like I'd imagine that Jesus' body would be a bit more stocky. The amount of time he was up on that cross, I think he had more to him than that. He deserves better than a little flimsy cracker.
Than a little wafer.
Hobnob.
Not even a hobnob.
If Jesus is going to be some kind of biscuit cracker based item, he's a hobnob.
You reckon he's a hobnob?
He's a hobnob.
Well, yeah, he's certainly not one of these white wafers, is he?
Yeah, you nail a hobnob to a cross. It's not getting soft. It can be rained on.
It'll be there for days.
It's going to stare at you.
Just going
to
to soak it up and be like,
put a crown of thorns on its head. It should be like,
what of it? Yeah, come on, bro.
And what?
And what?
Fucking
stick it with a spear.
And if anybody says that we're ripping off Peter Kay, this is a completely different act. Don't even
we're
go
talking about hobnobs in a completely different context.
Yeah, this is like he doesn't touch religion because he's too afraid. He's not on the cutting edge. Not on the cutting edge like us with his dainty little humour of do you remember? Do you remember when there was a netto? And people go, yes, Peter, we do remember.
Yes, Peter.
You were
Memory
the best.
Is a thing.
You were the best, Peter. Thank you for reminding me of Netto. It was cheap, wasn't it? You did have to pay for those bags before you did anywhere else. They were very forward-thinking, weren't they? Thank you, Peter. You are our God. Now let's go see Michael McIntyre. Oh, he's very funny. Man. He notices things and wobbles his head like a friendly Churchill.
He points out how funny and strange things are.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. Have you ever noticed how tractors go slow? Isn't that weird? It's like they're not made to go very fast.
What's going on there?
Oh, don't I look a little bit Chinese when I squint my eyes and wobble my head about a bit? Yes, Michael. Yes, you do. You do, Michael. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Do you have any other...
I hate Russell Howard. I hate Russell Howard. Oh my goodness. He's just another... Have you ever noticed? But he also throws in other things. His lines are literally, have you ever noticed? Wouldn't it be funny if? And then something in a Bristol accent. That is every single Russell Howard.
Russet.
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 Russet Howard is his potato
It's
form.
potato form. So if Russell Howard were a potato, he'd be a russet potato.
And it's all the eyes on that potato are wonky. Oh, thankfully this will never be heard by enough people to actually get to any of those three, and I do actually quite like Peter Kay. I think it's quite amusing. The other two, no, I genuinely don't like. You're not very funny. Sorry. Try harder. I like Stuart Lee. Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
That's all I've got to say on that one. Yeah,
I like Stuart Lee because he's like me. He's not very happy, and well, I feel middle-aged. He actually is middle-aged. He's got an excuse.
Well, okay then.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, quickly back to Trump's foreign policy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Vaguely remembering where we were. Do you get it? Meanderthals. Do you get it? Wasn't I clever for thinking up that name? Clever. Clever.
So, do you think he is going to bomb the shit out of ISIS and their families?
Yes. Yeah, I do. And I think he's... Hillary might have started World War III with Russia. He's probably going to start World War III with the Middle East. Like he's
going to start World War III with the world.
Yeah, he could be the one to go whole hog. But I think he could weirdly have old Vlad, old Poots, on his side, which will... it's weirdly, like, nice. Like these
they've come a long way, these two superpowers, since the 80s, haven't they?
It's like, you know, they've gone from being kind of a little bit right wing and a country that was pretending to be left wing, but was actually really right wing, but with a kind of painted over left wing facade. That then went into kind of a little bit of a middle ground that's then gone really right wing. And America's just gone, brown people. Or anyone who's maybe a bit gender confused.
Or does... They just don't like people who don't like
yeah, I especially don't like those people who I pay under the minimum wage to do my garden. Send them back.
Yeah, I want to pay people a fair wage to do my garden, and they must have fair skin.
Yeah. They don't want to pay them a fair wage. They want to keep paying the same amount. They just want whitey to burn.
I want people to get a tan, just like mine.
Yeah. Just like we over here, we don't want our doctors from abroad. We want Steve from around the council estate, who spent his life fingering Cassie behind the bins. I want him to be my doctor now, because at least he's white.
Why would he spend his life doing that? I mean, it doesn't take a long... Well...
Cassie's a deep woman, in more ways than one.
Yeah. Well, in that case, it's not just... firstly, it's not just a finger, probably. But also, Steve, come on, it's not going to take you more than 2 hours. Come on. Brings
to mind the old nursery rhyme: one finger, one thumb, one arm, one leg, one nod of the head. I'm stuck.
Keep moving. That's the advice of that nursery rhyme.
Keep moving.
Keep moving, because otherwise you get stuck.
Exactly. Like, don't get lodged. Never get lodged. Back to foreign policy.
As we have, for some reason, in Stephen Cassie's love life.
Yeah. Them poor bins. But, yeah.
They've seen some things.
There's a horrible unifying factor of his nasty right wing, which, as I say, it's nice in a way, but there's very high possibility that a lot of people are going to die.
Yes.
And the problem is, and maybe it's television's fault, a lot of people don't see them as people. It's like they're just little figures on a screen. Like, you know, it's like when you see an action movie and, you know, people get bullets in them and they all fall down. But, you know, at the end, you know, they all went to the services table, had a good laugh, you know, they were paid extras. But this isn't that. Like, children are being blown up because of very silly reasons. Actual human children and other people are getting annoyed at those people for leaving the country where the little children are getting blown up and daring to try and go to a country where that doesn't happen. They don't have that. It's not even empathy, because they can't empathise. There is no way, hopefully, that anyone in America or Britain will ever experience what those people experience on that scale. And the sheer inability to view those people with any kind of compassion from certain areas is physically disgusting. Because if they were in that same position, being denied access to another country for the safety of their own family, their fucking little privileged entitlement would come to the fore in ways that I only hear on a telephone line when people want their charges back because it's not fair they didn't read the very large terms and conditions.
Yeah. If you know, heaven forbid, Donald Trump had to leave America under as a refugee, you know, and he had to seek asylum in another country, do you think he would have the do you think he would be as calm as we've seen some of the immigrants being? Because like, it's as you said, the people are not just they're not just moving because they want to move to a different country to steal someone's job. They're moving because they're fleeing a war zone or a natural disaster or just persecution on a ridiculous level. They're moving away from something which is literally life-threatening. And then they get into the borders of another country which says, yes, we're free and we're open and we welcome all people except for you.
Yeah, because, let me just get my Dulux colour chart. Ooh, you're a little bit on the wrong side. What you need to do, just maybe go back
Auburn tan? No, I don't think so.
What we're looking for is really more towards the ivory side of the scale. Ooh.
Yeah. We'd even go for just off magnolia is okay.
You, the burnt umber, you are well out.
You are
no, sir, none for you.
Don't even think about it.
No, we do not take you umbernauts over here.
Umbernauts.
It's... Yeah, to think if you were put in that position, you would do anything you could, which would include, gripping onto the underside of a lorry, stowing away in a plane, in the baggage hold, in the fucking wheel compartment, if you had to do anything to try and make a better life for you and your family, where your main aim is not die. Like, that is the base level. What do you want to do today? I would like to live through it. Like, your problems of, what do you want to do today? Oh, well, yeah, I'd quite like to be able to have, 3 cups of coffee because, my life's so hard. No. There are people out there who just think, well, I'd quite like a cup of water and for the local militia not to come round and beat my child to death because it's the wrong sex.
It would be nice not to be shot because I've got a mobile phone. That would be nice. That's not even a joke.
Yeah.
That's a headline from today. That 40 civilians were executed by I don't know how to inverted quotes in audio, but by Islamic State for having a mobile phone.
Yeah. Like,
you think people are trying to get into your country because they want to live off your socialist healthcare system, or they want to
dirk your derbs.
They want to dirk derbs, but no, they don't. They just probably want to check their Facebook. That's all. They just want to come into your country so that they can successfully tweet, which is, as the highest officer in your land would now say, is something that every person should do. Should never be taken off them.
Bigly. They should do it bigly.
They should do it bigly. Bigly tweets.
Fucking bigly tweets.
Fucking, that would be an amazing follow-on to that children's book. Fucking Bigly tweets. And it would just be a series of tweets from Bigly as he's grown up, he's gone through his teenage years.
Yeah, just snaffled some pies again today. Locks.
Zooks those 5, I've no clue.
Can't help but look at Catherine in a special way. She seems the nicest of the 5. Hope she lets me share a muffin with her one day.
February 14th. Bigly finally expresses himself to Catherine behind the bins. Bigly Brexit. Bigly Brexit.
For some reason, I just got the phrase coitus interruptus in my head. I don't know why.
And we're done.
Yeah, I think, if anything, that's probably the best place to end it. What?
How long have we been going?
How long have we been going? Long. I remember when we said this was going to be half an hour. That went out the window.
Alright.
So yeah, guys, if you've listened to this, sorry. Stars.
Yeah, sorry to begin with.
It's just I'm going to try and edit it. See how that goes. But
hey, if we get this under 40 minutes, that'd be great. I'm sure there's some giggling we can take out.
We're we're going to try and do other ones. Underneath this little video, I'm going to put down the email. If you have any questions, maybe you want us to answer things. Maybe send in some questions. See how we feel about things. Yeah. Wouldn't that be interesting?
If you'd like to get some alternate perspective on some topics or something, if you want something for us to talk about,
if you want to be like, hey, you two groovy guys, what do you really think about Hillary Clinton? Because we didn't really jive on her too much. Maybe we'll do that at a later date because no innocent she yeah, more innocent than him. He who shall not be named.
Tic Tac breath.
the grabber.
Oh, the
old grabber.
That has got to be the worst endorsement for a product ever. Just a picture of Donald Trump with a big grin and thumbs up, and then underneath Tic Tacs. Because you're famous.
I'm just waiting for like the seaside fair, the grabbing arms, just tiny, really tiny, really tiny
they
arms.
string down the grabbing arm, and then inside they've just got toy cats.
Yeah, and just like, and just one very funny looking sort of pillow thing with the little child going, "Mummy, what's that?" Nothing. Why has it got a little tuft of fluff at the top? Why is it like a little man in a boat? Right, that's it. That's it. We're done. Right. Thank you very much for listening. We'll talk again later. Goodbye.